Treason, complicity in war, and encroachment on Ukraine's territorial integrity. Ukrainian prosecutors believe ousted President Viktor Yanukovych is guilty of these charges. Titled, "The Case of Viktor Yanukovych's Treason," began on May 4th, 2017 in the Oblon District Court of Kiev. The trial was held in absentia as the accused is hiding in Russia. The prosecutor's main evidence is a letter that the runaway president wrote to Vladimir Putin on March 1st, 2014. It requests that Russian troops be sent to Ukrainian territory. On the same day, the Russian Federation Council gave Putin permission to use Russian forces outside of the country's borders.
We have established, specifically and precisely, that this particular letter from Yanukovych legitimized the decisions and actions of the Russian authorities, namely the actions of the Russian President and the Federation Council regarding the use of Russian troops in Ukraine. This is established by the testimony of witnesses and other materials of the pretrial investigation.
The prosecution's witnesses, including members of the Ukrainian military, diplomats, and other officials, spoke about how events developed in Ukraine after Yanukovych fled and how Russia acted at the time. Current Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko also testified.
On February 27, 2014, I came to the office of the chairman of the Verkhovna Rada, who was at the time acting president of Ukraine, Alexander Turchinov, with a proposal to immediately fly to Crimea and personally hold talks with the deputies of the Verkhovna Rada of Crimea to stop these destructive processes. When I arrived in Simferopol, I became convinced that the Verkhovna Rada was closed and surrounded by the so-called Green Men, military personnel of the Russian Federation. Russia's former permanent representative to the UN, Vitaly Churkin, was nervous at the time when Crimea was annexed. He did not have enough information to justify or explain the actions that took place in Crimea. According to the Russian delegation to the UN, the official appeal by ex-President Yanukovych to the President Putin in a certain way legalized the entry of Russian troops into the territory of Ukraine.
Over 1.5 years of hearings, Yanukovych was defended by more than 10 different lawyers, private and public. The main line of defense was to prevent the ex-president from participating in the case. In March of 2018, a new letter from Yanukovych appeared in the case. Lawyers called it an extended version of the old one.
The witness confirmed that, personally, as a commissioned officer, on the instruction of Viktor Yanukovych, he prepared and sent the full text to the Russian Federation as a handwritten text.
The witnesses that the defense called were ex-officials from the Yanukovych administration and members of his security services. Many testified by video communication either from Crimea or from Russia. Their main message was that Yanukovych fled from Ukraine because of threats to his life. They said that they know nothing about the content of the letter to Putin, including the guard who printed this letter.
They called me, gave me the letter with checks, notes, and corrections. I reprinted everything, brought it to the president, and he signed it.
Almost a year after the hearings commenced, the court made an attempt to proceed with debate. However, Yanukovych's lawyers continuously interrupted the prosecutors and engaged in shouting matches. They filed requests for more new interrogations of witnesses and experts, as well as disrupted debate by calling the police and even organizing fights in the courthouse.
Силовики насильно заводили адвоката Рябовола до даного судового засідання.
Judicial debate still managed to start and lasted 3 months. One of Yanukovych's new lawyers, Alexander Baidik, read his speech for 30 hours. Another 4 meetings highlighted the option for Yanukovych to have a closing argument. However, the defender never got in touch, allegedly due to serious injury.
Кожне із цих 89 судових засідань обвинувачений викликався.
In each of the 89 court sessions, the defendant was called in all possible ways. He was given the opportunity to both arrive at the meeting and address the court, tell his position, give testimony to come up with a closing argument, and participate in debates on video. Without good reason, Yanukovych did not make the video calls. The court is fully aware of his right to remain silent and not to bear any responsibility for this. This right is guaranteed by law.
On December 5th, the court retired to the deliberation room to prepare a decision. The trial lasted 580 days. Reported by Yulia Kryuchkova, UATV.